You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast and syndicating for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and holy moly do I have an interview subject for you to listen to on this particular instalment of the show. Doug Wimbish is a tremendous bassist. He's the bass player for Living Colour. The reason for the conversation is to promote Living Colour's December 2018 Tour of Australia, so I'll read out the 6 dates that they've got. On Saturday the 15th, they're playing in Perth. Monday the 17th, they're playing in Adelaide. Wednesday the 19th, they're in Melbourne. Thursday the 20th, they're in Brisbane. Friday the 21st, they're in Byron Bay. And Saturday the 22nd, the band hits Sydney. So let's have a listen to what Doug has to say. This is a good one. Here we go.
Hello.
Hey, here he is. It's Andrew Mackay-Smith calling. Doug, how you going?
Hey, how you doing, mate? How's everything?
Mate, it's very good, and I'm all the better for you. I've got to get this out of my system before we continue off. I'm a bass player, and I've been playing ever since the year that Stain was released, okay? So I've got to credit you, mate. You're one of the reasons, alongside of Billy Gould from Faith No More, Rick Scatore from 24/7 Spies, and also Norwood Fisher from Fishbone, that actually played the bass guitar. And I was playing it as recently last night, mate, so I had to give you that feedback before I kicked the interview off. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing.
It's okay. You're welcome, man. What's your name again? What's your name?
Andrew Mackay-Smith is my name.
Andrew. All right, Andrew. Andrew, thank you for the kind words, and also thank you for mentioning me along with other great bassists that are also not only good great bassists, but also good friends. So thank you for reaching out, and we all appreciate it from all of us.
Oh, no problem at all. Yeah, no problem at all. It's been it's been a heck of a journey for me as a bassist, I must say, particularly because I have modelled part of my sound and the way that I approach my playing on the way you do. So, for example, last night we were playing Kool and the Gang Celebration, and I call it Doug Wimbish style. I'm putting in some slap and some thumb bass and all the rest of it, and I'm trying not to overpower it because I think you've got such a wonderful balance between straight ahead fingerstyle playing, if you like, but then when you really cut loose like you do in a song like Wall or what have you, mate, you just really bring the funk. And I try to do the same thing, but I hope it gets appreciated out there by listeners whenever I'm performing. But it definitely is by me from your playing anyway.
Well, we're all in, and I appreciate that. Again, I tell people this all the time. I'm not the architect. I'm the recipient, just like you and all of us that are players have had somebody in our lives that we've listened to, targeted, and used as resources. If not, endless names of folks over the days and weeks and months and years. We've all had our influences. And again, thank you for the kind words. But I'm here because of what I heard coming up, listening to Larry Graham, listening to Bootsy Collins, Chaco Pastores, listening to Charlie Mingus, and, I can go all the way across the spectrum. Whoever I heard when I was coming up, I was influenced by. I had no filter on anything. My ears were always open and were never in a situation of sizing up one better than the other. We all share the same notes. So I'm the perfect result of years of just listening, and I'm a bass player's biggest fan, and just being able to just channel some of the frequencies that I've heard, pre-YouTube, digital audio workshops, old school, with a record player, with putting a quarter on top of the needle so it doesn't skip, and going back and forth and learning songs that way, or learning songs from my local heroes before I got to meet or become engaged in this world. It was the people that I was around that were local bands that were really the ones that paved the road for me, really. And by the time I got to a certain stage, I had a lot of time for dress rehearsals. If it makes any sense. I had a lot of dress rehearsals that took place from the time I started going. But that's my vibe.
I really felt privileged to be in the Brisbane audience last year. Now, Vernon's guitar, I think something happened to it during the song Mind Your Own Business. Now, yourself, what you're able to do whilst he was trying to put his guitar back together again, you're able to do something. I wouldn't call it a bit of a. It wasn't so much of a jam. You're able to jam on the riff and the song, but you're able to expand on it a little bit more. And my God, yourself and Will just really bought it doing that there. So when, with all due respect to Vernon, when his guitar was plugged back in and you could sort of rejoin the rest of you with the song, I was a bit disappointed because it meant that I couldn't just listen to you and Will just doing this deep bass funk groove thing right across it. So my first question for you proper would be, mate, have you thought about yourself and Will doing something of a a bit of a showcase, just you guys just bringing the chops?
Well, we have a group that's been in hibernation for a while, Head Fake, which served that purpose. It also served the purpose as not only as a duo and also a drum and bass duo, but also Will gets to expand on things he's doing, and I get to expand on things I'm doing sonically, spiritually. And it lends itself also for us to be able to do like exactly what you're saying, do a gig, or maybe during the pre-gig is getting some lads and girls to come by the sound check, and we kind of go through a few different things so that, we get a chance to do it. And also people get a chance to see it. And by people being there gives us a chance to do it even more. So, or else it just kind of stays in your own, or else it just becomes a moment that's never on repeat, which is good as well. But yes, we do have that. We both, we have parked that for over the last few years. It pops itself out from time to time, whether it's under the name of Head Fake or under the name of Jungle Funk, a trio with additional singer Vinks. So, and Will and I really enjoy that. It gives us the opportunity to evolve more than what we do with the brand that we have, with the other brands that we represent. But I think having you mention that right now makes me want to have another conversation with Mr. Calhoun to see if we can actually maybe bring Andrew from Australia said blah.
Mate, please do it. I had a chat to Will last year, actually, ahead of the Australian tours, so I was really excited when John reached out and he said, hey, listen, Living Colour are coming down. I said, please, for the love of God, I need to talk to Doug. I've got to do this. I mean, you're one of my bass heroes, as you can tell, so I'm fanning out a little bit, but please indulge me. So it doesn't happen.
That's all right, man. That's all right, mate.
It doesn't happen too often.
It's okay, man. It's all right.
So
it's okay, mate. It's all right.
Let's talk about the show that you're bringing down. So I understand you're performing Vivid. So apart from Vivid, will you be bringing some of the stuff? Because obviously your performance on Stain has been a massive influence on me personally. So is there any plans to, say, bringing part of the Stain album and, say, doing 3 songs in a row from that album alongside of playing Vivid in full?
Absolutely. And I'm not sure whether we're playing, for clarity, I saw the way it's advertised, and it can be easily interpreted that we are playing Vivid in its entirety. We've already done that a couple of years ago here in the States. We haven't brought it to Australia, but in light of when we were there before, we played a good majority of stuff. So this time what we'll do is we won't necessarily, it's like playing, as I saw it written, it was playing the best of Vivid along with other songs from Living Colour's catalog. So you kind of, what you asked for is pretty much what we have on the table. It's Stain. It's an anniversary for Stain. It's all starting to come in series now. From the time Vivid came out to Time's Up to Stain to Kaleidoscope, Sharing the Doorway, and now Shade. They've all it's like a good 6 records. Maybe I'm missing one. But anyway, maybe Biscuits or whatever. But let's just say those 3 records that I say are the before the band took a hiatus and after the band took a hiatus. There's like 3 and 3 right now. And out of all 3 of those 6 records, I'm hoping that we have the opportunity to play a song from every one of those records. And that's 6 songs right there. If possible, that's 3. That's maybe at least another 5 songs right there that would come from the other 5. Let's just say candidate records,
Yeah.
So hopefully we get a chance to do. We will do that. I'm more of the mindset of doing that. We've done Vivid. It's been a great statement. I'm glad that people are able to dig it, and I'm also glad that the way they're advertising it, it's not just we are doing Vivid from top to bottom and that's it.
Okay.
I think that, in my opinion, it gives us an opportunity to do more stuff.
Yeah, cool. Hey, I'm going to cast your mind back to the mid-90s. You worked with 2 artists, of which I'm a particular fan as well, but there's one track from one artist in particular that made an enormous impression on me, and I didn't find out until years later that you'd actually provided the bass, and that was the cut Useless by Depeche Mode. So how did that collaboration come about?
Well, Tim Simonin is a friend of mine from Bomb the Bass, and he's a producer, and we worked together on a lot of different projects over the years. One of which was the Depeche Mode project. And it just came, it was one of those situations where Tim and I got together and he was doing a remix, and actually it was a song from the ground up, if I remember right. He had previously done some remixes for the lads. And it's just one of those things, man. It's just one of those classic songs that it's just sometimes you're in a zone, and you're making a lot of music and a lot of different music. And when you have the opportunity to make a lot of different music, you have a chance to take on these different characters. And again, Depeche Mode is from the same family. It's all from my On You sound, Adrian Sherwood, Tackhead. My years of living in London starting in 1984, meeting Daniel Miller, working with Mark Stewart. So there's a whole family there's another layer of that onion that's even that has been a conversation that's been going on way before Useless was cut. We've been friends and known each other for many years. And as from the lads and Dave and everybody in Al and everybody in Depeche Mode. So it's kind of like, I guess, when that opportunity lent itself and the right groove came and it aligned with the right producer and everything, then, the stars are lined up and there you have it. So it was kind of like that because, back in those days, or even still right now, I started off as a studio musician, and I've always been able to have that duality of being the performer live and also understanding the role of what needs to take place in the studio, and and how to be able to provide a frequency that is that has the eyes and ears of the producer, the artist, the writer, and the engineers, because they're all a part of this game. You know what I mean? And then anybody else that's in the room that's helping to bring the frequency is how things get done, because that's how records are done. And when you have that freedom, you have the opportunity where somebody says, Doug, go ahead and play this, or and then you start to, it takes the shape from there. But yeah, man, that was just one of those great records. It's a
fantastic album.
I love the song. Yeah. I really look forward to hopefully to do some more work with them in the future, hopefully.
Cool, yeah. Brilliant bass line, by the way. It's one of the best ever written. It's just so it carries the whole song. Without the bass line, there is no song. And I take it you're the one who wrote the bass line. So you wrote the bass line proper.
Well,
that is actually.
It's funny how you say what's written and what you're inspired by, or what was already there and what you brought to the table. It's kind of like, there's a fine line of how to define where something started and where it finished when you're in a world of creating, and then when you're in the world of, okay, well, here's a key, here's a rhythm, but it starts off this way, but it ends up another way. But because the key and the rhythm might have been there before you started, sometimes songs have a way of not producing the real reality of what really went down and how to credit somebody's input. when they've added to something that might have already been there. And that's something that is everybody has to deal with. You know what I mean? It's the way we are. But all being said and done, when I walked in there, they had a track when I remember, and there was already a frequency, and I deep dived into the landscape of what was going on.
Yeah.
You know, my role was to find the right character, find the right lane. My goal is to make everybody feel like this is the center of the universe. This is the center of the sonic universe right now at this moment. That's it.
Yeah, great response. And hey, look, I wouldn't call it a rumor, and I haven't heard anything, but I was under the impression you were close to joining the Rolling Stones in the mid-90s. Now, Darryl Jones is an extraordinary player, and I know that you worked on Bridges to Babylon, but how close did you go to joining the Stones?
Very close. You know, well, I wasn't really joining the Stones. I was asked to do the recording when Bill Wyman left the band. And it was interesting because it was a tour that it was the reason why it didn't happen is the fact that Living Colour was doing a tour of Australia in 1993. It was going to be the first time the band was down there, and it was a scheduling thing. So, and Mick wanted to actually try to see if he could buy out the band and or move the schedule around so I could be a part of their record. God bless Mick. But and then there's a whole nother scenario that went down that I would prefer not to discuss on, you know.
Sure.
I will save that for my book,
autobiography
for the book. You know what I mean? The autobiography of, you know, what things, and out of respect. But you know, it's, you know, I mean, you know, they already, you know, I flew, you know, like. I got the call. Mick flew me out to Ronnie. They flew me out to Ronnie Wood's house where they were doing their thing. They had already went through a bunch of bass players already. I went out there. We just started recording. Came back home. Mick called me up and he's like, "Hey, Dougie, you know, we want you to do the record." I'm like, "Cool." I'm like, you know, okay. Well, when is it? And then it became a conflict. I'm like, well, okay. Well, here you are. I'm a loyal person. I'm not a revolving door. You know, you say yes to something and you do it professionally. If there's something that lends itself for change, you handle the change professionally as well. I can't say that everybody has the same practice.
It's very admirable.
What it is, and I'm in a business. I'm in a business that doesn't have, that has a lot that people get. That there's a lot of excitement that goes on, and a lot of this has to happen for this reason, yada yada. And then, you know, you fast forward and you realize when the shoe is on the other foot, you see how people aren't necessarily as responsive as you or as loyal as you are. So that's all, you know, that's all, you know, like it's called opportunity knocks. But, you know, at the same time, you got to be careful how you drink from the devil's cup. That's all I'm going to say. You got to keep it real. You know what I mean? If you keep it real, people can see what's going on. This is a very transparent business. It's not there's a lot of X-ray eyes that can see through a lot of things, and I leave it like that.
Mate, thank you. I'd better let you go. I don't know what to say, man. You're a legend. You're one of my bass heroes ever since I've been a very young teenager, and just talking to you now, it only enhances my thoughts of you, mate. So I can't wait to see you guys when you come down here again, and I really hope that we can catch up.
Well, come to Soundcheck, man. Where are you at again? Where are you based at?
In Brisbane.
All right, so we're coming to Brisbane. Are we coming there first? Or are we going out west first? Are we going to the West Coast? Yeah, okay. Anyway, well, just come to Soundcheck, Andrew. Just come and hang out with me at Soundcheck.
Okay, mate, I'd have to do that.
Come hang out.
If I can get...
Just come on, man. Just come and hang out, man.
Oh, that'd be so good, man. Yeah, it'd be so good just to see you do things. I'll contact John and I'll ask John, who's organised obviously the phoners and the like, how I can do it, man. But even I'll just send him this part of the recording, no whoever it is, this part of the recording, and say, look, Doug said I could go.
Yeah, you're good. All right, listen, Andrew, I got some more calls coming in. Thanks for the nice conversation.
Thanks,
Thank
mate.
you for the kind words. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm sending you a big wireless hug all the way here from Connecticut. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in person in a few months. Okay?
Absolutely, mate. No worries at all. Thanks so much. All the best.
Cheers, mate.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast and syndicating for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that was a conversation that featured Doug Wimbish from Living Colour. Thank you so much for listening.